Hello, everyone. My name is Tero President from TCCA, and we are here in Edinburgh. We just finalized a week of 3GPP plenaries 102 and the celebration of 25 years of 3GPP. Particular great thing for me is that last time we were here in Edinburgh in 2014, then we decided to form SA6. With me is the SA chair, Jain Puneet. Well, can you share us what did we do this week and what are the achievements?
Thank you very much, Tero. So as always, it's a pleasure to talk to you. So this has been a fantastic and very aggressive week in terms of discussions. So the agenda of this meeting was really noteworthy for three key reasons. So first one was it's about discussion on Release 19 package. So as you know, we have spent quite last 2 quarters discussing the various study work items in working groups level. So at this meeting, the goal was to get a Release 19 content approved. And second agenda was to basically also start a discussion on the 6G timeline. So basically, we had some high-level considerations and some high-level milestones agreed on the 6G timeline. That was a big accomplishment. And last but not the least, we were here to celebrate the 25th anniversary of 3GPP. And basically, we had an opportunity to recognize some of the individuals which has been here from the day one. And basically, we thank them for their excellent work. And we had a very nice social event. So these were the three key highlights from this week. Yeah.
All right, can you tell more about the key topic, I suppose, is the release 19 content. Stage 1 was frozen, completed, so it's an enormous milestone. How about stage 2?
Yes, thank you. So release basically 19 stage 1 is now functionally frozen, which basically means that no additional new requirements would be added. So that gives a good stepping stone for now to stage 2 to start working on that. So on stage 2 for release 19, we had a several discussions and very intense discussions in terms of finding an agreement on release 19 package. As you know, at the working group level, we always have more content to fit in as compared to the timeline. And this time was not very different. So we had exactly same situation where we had a huge content and basically we wanted to basically focus and deprioritize some of the things because we have limited slots and time units available at the working group level. And that is usually a very heated discussion because everyone has their favorite topic. So my goal as an SA chair was not to make everyone happy, but to make everyone equally unhappy. And I hope basically we achieved that. So I'm pretty happy with the outcome. And let me share what we have achieved, on the release 19 content.
Okay. All right.
All right. So basically this slide or screen sheet, Excel sheet shows you the progress which we have achieved. So this is basically the release 19 content from SA2, which is an architecture working group. So you can see that the items on the column F, G, and H, which is highlighted in green, is part of release 19 content. So we have 5G satellite architecture phase 3, next generation real-time communication, extended reality and media, energy efficiency and energy saving, and then on MPS messaging. So in addition to that, 5G Pros will also be part of release 19, where the discussion would be on the multi-hop. And this is the work item of a key interest to the public safety community. And the work would be on the both layer 2 as well as layer 3 multi-hop, and which will be coordinated very well with the RAN groups. Then these red items could not make it because there was either the RAN working groups is not going to work on those, so they have not been part of release 19 content, unfortunately. Then we had these user identities uses in row 12 that will be part of release 19 content, but as you can see that there was significant downscoping that happened on this work, which was originally 14 TUs but was reduced to 9.5. Then on UAS, which is for drones, edge computing, I wanted to mention integrating sensing and communication, which was endorsed in a sense that there will not be any work done in SA, but we're going to have a checkpoint in September 2024, where we sit together with RAN and understand what they plan to do beyond the channel modeling. And after that, basically, we're going to take a decision in September on whether we do any kind of a study at the SA level.
So from run side, it appears like a functionality which stretches itself over multiple releases. So from OSA, the main work might be in the following release.
I mean, it's a little bit too early to say that, because what we have to see that what comes out from the study on the channel modeling. I mean, on the time frame wise, basically, it could be seen as that there may only be a study. But again, that is not a decision which we take now. We will basically revisit with that in the September 2024 time frame. Okay, so I wanted to also add something, that there was also work which is going to be on the RAN topologies. There are 2 items, which is on 5G femto and also VMR, which will be part of now release 19 package. And as you can see, some of the items has gone through a considerable downscoping, because initially we estimate it will take around 152 time unit budget, but then we had to reduce it to 131, and also allow some room for TI-19 project, which is basically operator has been asking in terms of deployment. They are very, concerned that we need to have time allocated for that as well.
Maybe just for the audience to understand, that TU is a time unit, and it means a certain slot per meeting. The downscoping doesn't mean that the features which have been downscoped would not be important, but they might be then addressed in subsequent releases. So splitting the work, as far as I understand. What other things should one understand from the process in thinking, like, okay, like if we think mission critical things, we had something already in release 12, but then we have been doing many things in 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, and indeed we have things here in 19 as well. So it's a long way and a continuous process.
Yes, thank you. So just on the time unit, yes, it's like a 1.5 hour slot during a meeting, where basically delegates are present and have a face-to-face discussion. So that 1.5 hour time slot we call as a one time unit. And basically we have a limited number of time units. So basically based on the number of meetings in a year, and that's where basically we will try to see that given a time unit, how much content can basically fit it into a
so basically estimation how much discussion is required on a particular thing. And then these TI-19 things, if I understand right, they are fairly small.
Yes, so the TI means for technical enhancements and improvements, and by their nature they are very small, and they are supposed to finish it within a one plenary cycle. So the reason we try to do that is basically some of from the deployment perspective, sometimes we see some of the issues, and sometimes we see some of the enhancements are really small in the nature. So then for those we keep a separate budget, and that's where basically those discussions happen in terms of those.
So is it fair to say that's the 3GPP agility part?
Yes. So basically what we don't want is that smaller projects, which are especially important for operators, and they require an immediate attention, are not basically starved, because we have the huge number of studies going on in parallel. So we basically plan it in a way that we allow agility, as like you said, to basically also have those projects continuing in parallel.
And I could imagine that might be also a regulatory thing, which is fairly clearly scoped, but needs to be addressed in order to be able to deploy a service or something.
Absolutely. I think regulatory requirements are very important, because this is something which we by law needs to comply to. So those requirements, if are there and require some enhancements or bug fixes to be done, then they can be considered as part of the amendment.
Okay. All right. Excellent. Anything else you'd like to say about the content and the way forward?
Yeah, so just like last couple of items on this March, which was about dual steer and ATSS. So basically what we have seen has also done in the previous releases. This is also going to be part of release 19 package. And Interestingly, we also have a big feature on ambient IoT. Now, this is only going to be a study for the time being. And in December, again, it needs to coordinate in December 2024 with RAN and understand the progress from their side, and the decision whether there will be a continuation or normative work would be taken at the December 2024 timeframe. And last but not the least, there is work on this AI/ML core network enhancements, and this is also fairly coordinated with RAN on terms of AI/ML on air interfaces. And then there are equivalent feature enhancement on the core network side, and this is going to be done in a close coordination with the RAN.
And AI/ML in this context means artificial intelligence, machine language in running and optimizing the network, not intervening with people's data and their discussions, right?
Yes, that's right. So basically what we look at in the 3GPP system is basically how we can use the AI/ML and like artificial intelligence and machine learning technology in terms of enhancing the network operations. So that is a key focus of basically this study.
So I suppose from a mission critical communication point of view, those are the mechanisms to speed up recovery. For instance, if there is a network failure somewhere, then it's much faster to do it by automation than human intervention.
Yes, that is exactly.
Okay.
Okay, so I think this there are these two yellow items I wanted to also just quickly talk about is basically these were some of the INSS was about the network slicing. So there was a continuation of network slicing and some work needed to be done. But we made a decision to basically look into, instead of doing a study, like what we said earlier, this could be a candidate for TI-19. So basically, which means a small work can be done on the fast. And then there is a roaming value-added services architecture, which fall under the same buckets where the decision was taken that it can also be done as part of TI-19 work. And one last thing was also, which falls under the same bucket, is network sharing. And basically, SA recommended SA2 to basically bring this as a TI-19 proposal for approval for the future TSU.
Yeah. So the burden is in SA. All is in the SA2 working group. They are the one that need major prioritization, but then there are a whole lot of other topics which we didn't need to discuss on SA6, SA5 and 4 and so on, which are also part of release 19, but everyone believes that one is able to do that.
Yes. So this, what you see here on the screen, is mainly about SA2 because that is the working group which is quite overloaded because that's where the system architecture gets defined, right? Then, but we have a security working group in SA3, we have management and orchestration, SA5, and we have an application and implement group in SA6, and also media and codecs, SA4. But those working groups is also going to have many projects on release 19, but since they has not been as overloaded as like SA2, we have a fair comfortable in terms of content which is progressing there.
Yeah. And from mission critical point of view, in SA6 we have a bunch of enhancements there, and again it makes sense to follow those, but they are included as it was didn't require any prioritization.
Yes. That is correct. So those projects are all been agreed as well, and they're gonna also continue as part of release 19 timeline.
Okay, excellent. How do you see now the way forward? The next meeting is in March in Maastricht, then in June in Shanghai, followed by Melbourne in Australia, and if I remember right, then in a year's time we will be in Europe again in Spain. What's your expectations for 2024?
I think 2024 is going to be very interesting year because a lot of new work, which we call as this, as you know, that release 19 is the 5G advanced second release, right? And it becomes a stepping stone to a 6G, and the work is expected to start on 6G in release 20, at least in terms of the studies. So the first one thing which we have also endorsed in this week is a stage 1 workshop on IMT 2030 use cases. So let me tell a little bit more about that. So the goal of that workshop is to have all the regional research alliances and the market representative partners to basically join that workshop, which will happen in May 2024, to talk about the use cases and the requirements which are of interest from the regional perspective, right? And that's where I see that it's a good opportunity for a mission critical and public safety community to come together and basically start to foresee what kind of requirements they will see from the next generation system. And I think that is going to be a good opportunity to basically come and discuss some of those requirements, because the goal from 3GPP perspective is to leverage the work and the use cases and not basically reinvent wheel on some of the things which has already been happening.
Absolutely. That on that one, TCCA has already in critical communications broadband group made a decision to start forming our position. This workshop is in May, early May, and that's the timeline. We are looking forward to have our view and cooperate as much as we can with other market representation partners that we find the commonalities as possible. So definitely 100% committed to be there.
Okay, looking forward to it.
Yes. Any other things?
I think then on next year, basically what we have also decided is some of the high level considerations for 6G timeline. So what we expect is after the workshop on IMT 2030 use cases, there's going to be work on the use cases, and then there will be a study item for the requirements, 6G requirements. That would be basically work which happens in the SA1 service requirements group, right? And what we expect is basically a study item on that will come for an approval in September plenary, which is going to be happening in Australia. And from that point of onwards, basically we will continue the work on the other 6G. But I wanted to also mention one more thing is in March plenary is also important, where we're gonna actually further discuss the remaining timelines and the milestone for 6G, especially like how big the release would be, right? So far what we have agreed on is basically release 20 is when we're gonna have the requirement and the technical studies, and the release 21 is where we're gonna have the normative work done. But there are various other things which we need to discuss in terms of the size and the scope and how big the release cycle would be. And all those discussions will be happening in the March plan.
Right. And if I understand now, 6G, the timeline target is to have it to provide an input to ITU on IMT 2030, and that was it 28, something like that?
So we haven't basically closed on that yet. So, but our goal is to basically have a single set of specification, like what the learning we had from 5G is that, instead of basically doing a multiple drops, that was what happened in 5G, there's going to be a single drop, which meets the IMT 2030, requirements and as a submission to that. So that is a target. Usually ITUR has a time window basically when the submission could be made by 3GPP, and we have not yet decided on the exact dates when the submission will be made.
So that's something to stay tuned for.
Yes.
Stay tuned, but it's anyway towards the end of the
we can see this end of this decade sometime.
Yeah. Okay. Oh, all right. Good. So a lot of work to be done until we are there, and many things to be debated and defined. Maybe with this, I can thank you for this year and wish you very good happy holidays now and New Year, and looking forward to have another discussion with you in Maastricht in March.
Thank you very much, Tero, and wish you also happy holidays and happy New Year in advance, and I'll see you in Maastricht. Thank you.
Excellent. Thank you. So join us again.
Thank you. Bye-bye.